Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill.
Now we've got a fight started here right off the bat with Rosehill.
30 minutes of live, nonstop Leafs talk starts now.
And another OT loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs, now 1-5 on the season. It's the Tuesday edition of Leafs Morning Take. Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with you. Remember to subscribe, tap that like button, leave us a review. Don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com for the very latest on all things Toronto Maple Leafs. Thoughts, comments, concerns, or questions, hit us up in the YouTube chat down below. But Rosie, lots to get to today. What's going on, bud?
Yeah, not too much, dude. I still here, still grinding out the Disneyland deal. I think the goalies that can't play back-to-back should come out here and do a week at Disney and see how their bodies are feeling. I feel like I'm on the end of a 3-3 right now, but it's all good otherwise.
I was going to say, I think you're setting a record for longest trip to Disneyland. Isn't it like a normal thing where you go for like 3 or 4 days? I've never seen a week-long trip to Disneyland.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I think we've done 3 days Disney, and now today we got Universal Studios and we're flying home. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's a good trip, though. Good memories. It's a good place. I highly recommend it.
Fair enough. As long as the family's having fun, that's all that matters. Speaking of having fun, man, I felt like I was watching the same movie last night. I just had the feeling Sorokin was making save after save after save. And then lo and behold, Josh Bailey, who's been a health bomb 53 times this season, ties the game, local product. We all know the story by now, and we're going to get into it. But first and foremost, think off the top. I want to get your initial thoughts on the Wallstrom hit on Austin Matthews last night.
Yeah, I don't like it, man. Like usually you got to break those hits down on, did the guy change direction? Who was being hit? The guy who's making the hit, did he stay in his, like on his rails? Did he stay in his lane and finish the check? And I can't stand it when a guy jumps out of the way, tries to avoid getting hit and jumps out of the way, leaving his legs exposed. And the guy stays on his hit path and goes through the guy's legs or knees, and everyone's screaming at him when the guy's chicken shit who should have just taken the hit. Austin Matthews did not do that at all. Wallstrom wasn't going to catch him, wasn't going to hit him, and he leans his leg out there. They've been going on about that since the 70s. Guys blow their knees up like that. It's not cool, and they don't stand for it in the league very often usually, but not even a penalty on the play. But, I got no qualms with how Austin handled that, and thankfully it wasn't any injury on the play. But yeah, you can't hit guys like that, and especially when it's your star player. Last thing the league wants, last thing a team wants, last thing the fans want is star players, all-stars getting blown up with their knees because guys are hitting like idiots.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you look moving forward, we got to get these hits out of the game. I don't want to compare it to the Alex Edler hit from a couple weeks back because, again, he has a track record in the history with those type of dirty hits. But I will say the one thing I was fired up about is that somebody actually gave a shit. And I'm sure you saw this. Rasmus Sandin to the aid of Austin Matthews. Here's the video of the knee-on-knee, by the way, here on the screen, as you can see. And Aaron, thanks so much for putting that up. I like that from Sandin. I know he got shit pumped, but that's beside the point. When my top player, dude, when you're fucking Austin Matthews, somebody better be stepping in. And we've had this conversation a billion times. I think we've done like 30 shows together already. I need somebody to step up. I don't give a fuck who it is. So props to Rasmus Sandin.
Oh, totally. So good to see, man. Like, it doesn't matter what you do in the fight, man. Look he's getting his right cocked there. And then when Wallstrom goes down, he throws kind of a bomb and comes over the top. It looked great. It was awesome. And I heard some tweets there that were like, he didn't even hesitate. I was like, there's a little hesitation. You can tell his body knows he's supposed to go, but his mind's like, oh boy, here we go. And absolutely love that, man. And Wallstrom, you can see when they're scrapping how much fucking bigger he is than him too. But anytime a skilled Swedish defenseman comes to the aid with his gloves off is just the greatest thing you could ever see. I'm sure the boys were so jacked to see that. And, it takes balls to get in there and do that. And it's not his forte. I don't even know what is his fight count in his entire life. I can imagine it would be on one hand that you can count it. It was. There you go. But pretty wicked to see him. I love how they're adopting that kind of mentality and culture of protecting each other and stepping up. And I don't give a shit if I'm putting myself in harm's way. He's no worse for wear this morning. He's probably walking like he's 10 feet tall. So obviously love to see that. I'd love to find someone that doesn't like that. I would love to have a conversation with them because I think they'd be hard to find.
You're about to eat your words. So I wake up today and Biz calls this tummy sticks. Biz Nasty calls this tummy sticks. And it's this, to me, this is worse than Barkov giving Huberdeau the pass on the week. I can't fucking get over that. So I don't know if you saw this. A picture surfaced after the game of Sandin and Wallstrom talking. So I guess
Yeah.
they're buddies. I guess that's where the hesitation came from. I just don't think you would have seen that 20 years ago. And he got shit pumped, but I digress. Do you read anything into that at all, or no, you don't care?
So Biz thinks it's bullshit because they're buddies and it wasn't a real fight, or what?
No. He just calls it tummy sticks. Like, this is unrelated to Biz. I hate the Kumbaya League, man. I'm not a fan of it. This is the NHL. You're out to win. You're out to kill. And these guys are just playing tummy sticks. That's the reference.
Well, I I hear you, but you look at if the fight was this bullshit little fake, we're talking beforehand and then afterwards nod, but he went right at it. And I mean, Wallstrom's throwing punches, and I don't care
Yeah.
who you are or what you think is going on when a full-grown man is throwing bare knuckle punches at your face and you're on skates. It's real. There is no
Yeah.
faking about that, and they
Yeah.
probably know each other for sure. And afterwards, you walk across the hallway and say, "Hey, how about that? Fuck, didn't expect that this morning when." You texted me, how's it going or whatever, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't like the stuff on the ice when the fans can see, unfortunately, someone for the media
Oh,
snaps a pic and makes it seem all fancy. But to be honest, I would just stick it to the phone after and text the guy if you want to. Why do you, they just seem to have no shame going onto the hallway in front of the cameras and buddying it up after a game, right? Which I
oh,
kind of agree with you. It's a bit annoying. Like, pretend
yeah.
like you're going to war at least. But
Dude,
nonetheless,
I
look
was
at
so
him, man. He
jacked
just
up.
did that.
Yeah, I was so jacked up. He steps up for Austin Matthews. Nobody seems to want to do that this season, last season, the ones prior. And then I see the picture and I'm like, oh, fuck. But I digress. All right, let's
I
get
agree.
over the boards. So first and foremost, our graphic designer Aaron, tremendous job. Had to have DJ Khaled in there and in there because I feel like I'm watching a broken record. And Rosie, watching the game, I did tweet this out. I said, just a reminder: the Leafs are 1-4 in overtime, and they lose quickly. Within the 2 minutes mark, Josh Bailey ties it in regulation, and of course, Anthony Beauvillier wins it. This team looks absolutely lost in OT, in 3-on-3 OT, which makes no sense, again, because of the star power, the talent, the personnel on the ice. They just can't figure it out. They're lost, man.
Yeah, I mean, how much background does anyone have in 3-on-3 full ice NHL hockey? What are you supposed to do? I mean, it is an anomaly. Look at the players they have. These guys should go out and be able to play pond hockey with the best of them. And maybe that's the problem. They go out there and they play pond hockey and they're not like to watch it on TV is insanity with the change of puck possession and momentum and odd man rushes and breakaways and scoring chances. And if you get a good scoring chance and you don't score on it, you're goddamn pretty sure it's going down the other way for a huge scoring chance again. So it's so hard to stay high while still outmanning the team. And it's just that fine balance of defense, offense. And at the end of the day, I didn't hate that goal they scored. I mean, he's coming down on Justin Hull and he labels one far side. Like, fuck, what are you going to do? I mean, that's just a great shot. But
Yeah.
it is an anomaly that they're not getting any wins with this roster with the firepower. And they've got guys that are hot. They've got guys that are scoring. It's just one of those damn things. But what are you going to do but keep trying? They're mixing up the people they start on in overtime. And I mean, what else do you do, man?
Yeah, there's not much you can do. Again, you watch the first couple minutes. William Nylander couldn't get off the ice. They kept icing the puck. I think you look at other teams around the league, puck possession's a big thing, which is, interesting because that's all the Leafs have been preaching the last couple of years is puck possession 5-on-5. And then you get to 3-on-3 and they want to just go for the jugular all the time. I think patience is a virtue in this league. I think if you try to get it to a shootout, it's probably better predicament what this team is putting forth right now in 3-on-3. I just think these guys look out of whack, out of sorts. They're not really doing much in terms of providing offense or trying to score a goal, right? I think they're always chasing it, and we've seen that thus far. So now 1-5 in the OT. Beauvillier wins it. I wasn't crazy about the tying goal for Källgren. To that point, I thought Toronto did a really, really good job of protecting the house. Like, you didn't notice Källgren last night, and that's probably a good thing. He is like the 17th string netminder. Do not forget that. But I think that was just a tough giveaway, especially considering the way this team was playing in the third period and this game, to let that goal in and then get it to OT. And it's a National League shot. I can't blame Källgren on the OT winner.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the game, like they go down 1-0. When you surrender the first goal of the game, you kind of always feel like you're chasing and trying to catch up. And they did a great
Yeah.
job at that. They took the lead back. I mean, that's not easy to do. And that says to me that they're capable of being in full control of this game. They were. The last 2-3 minutes of a game when it's a 1-goal game is super critical, right? I mean, turnovers at that point in time will just drive your coach nuts. Dancing around on one of the blue lines will drive your coach absolutely nuts. 50-50 pucks not being on the defensive side of it, that'll drive your coach insanely nuts, because last thing you want to do is let that team back in the game late in the game, a couple minutes left, and then they got all the momentum going into overtime, and it's just exactly what happened. So bottom line, Källgren, he is your 4th-string goalie. He can't be coming out of the net making a turnover like that. It just, I smiled because I was like, that is the NHL for you. You make a mistake and it is in the back of your fucking net. It's like hungry sharks just waiting. And if you have a bad turnover like that, boom, it's in the back of your net. It's my number one thing with the NHL is the mistakes are so highlighted. So it is what it is, man. You got a point out of the deal. You didn't score first, but you battled back. There's a lot of positives. You got to remember that we don't even have one of our 2 goalies in right now, and just as easily could have won the game. So got to take the positives out of that. And yeah, it's weird we're not winning in overtime. We haven't even seen a shootout because they can't even get there, let alone win one in overtime. But that's just the way it goes. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Obviously, Källgren's pretty mad about that himself this morning. I'm sure of it, because the game was pretty much on his stick. But life goes on.
Ilya Sorokin, again, as we predicted on yesterday's show, would be a story. I thought he was really, really good, especially 1-1, especially 2-1 to keep his team in the game. But that's what the upper echelon goalies in this league do. Some positive notes as well. John Tavares, game 300 as a Leaf, scores. He's got 7 of 11 via the power play, on pace for 45 tucks. So he's having a brilliant start, as we've referenced time and time again. And a 13-game point streak for Mitch Marner, 2 assists, 19 points in that 13-game stretch. I thought he was fantastic last night. But we roll on. The Morgan Rielly injury is another significant piece of news from the game last night. And we saw it as the third period went on. And the unfortunate thing, it was like an awkward collision where neither player saw each other coming, in the form of Kyle Palmieri and Morgan Rielly. But he comes back for one spin after that, does not return. They're calling it an upper body injury. I know Sheldon Keefe after the game said Rielly needed imaging done on his injury. So that does not look good. And that's a big-time loss, Rosie.
Yeah, I don't see anything about upper injury there. It looks like his knee gets caught up in Palmieri there. He goes down and grabs his knee.
Oof.
He falls kind of funny. I guarantee that's a knee tweak right there, but they call it whatever they want. Doesn't really matter, obviously. But yeah, you're going to notice a huge hole in the lineup if Morgan Rielly's not playing. I mean, to the untrained eye, to someone who's not following this team very well, you don't see him in the big celebration scoring lots of goals and whatnot. I don't even believe he has one this year, does he? But look at the points that he puts up, damn near a point a player as a defenseman, and just the reliability that he has on the back end, the presence that he has, the plays that he can make. He can get out of his zone. He can get it in the big boys' hands. He can finish plays in the O-zone. He's just such a solid defenseman, and they're freaking going to be missing him if he's out again. And, it's fair to say 20 games in now, this team has been bit by the injury bug. They haven't had their full roster. They haven't even had close to their full roster this entire season, not even since preseason. And now if Morgan Rielly goes down, I think it's going to be he's going to be impossible to replace him. They don't have anyone to do it, but it's just going to continue on this streak of games lost to injury. And it's shitty because you're trying to get things rolling and you're constantly tweaking that lineup and trying to fill holes is not the way to do it.
Yeah, that's just the way things go in professional sports. You know that as best as anybody, obviously playing in this league. And I think a perfect example of that this year is the Columbus Blue Jackets, who just can't stay healthy. Patrick Laine, Zach Werenski, the list goes on, and they're up against it right away. But it's got to be next man up. And I think for those looking for a trade, I just don't think this is doable for Kyle Dubas. It's a salary cap world. They don't have much space. I think they have to be wise and smart with their long-term usage of the cap money they do have if a guy like Muzzin can't come back. And I think it's got to be internal. I think it's got to be Victor Mete. Take one wild guess, by the way, who played the most for the Leafs last night, by the way.
A wild guess who played the most. Don't say Justin Holl.
Fucking rights. 23:07, man. Justin Holl. And then I saw him in overtime too. And I'm not putting the blame on Justin Holl, but if he's got to play an OT shift 3-on-3 with 2 offensive studs, I think it's problematic. I think what it showed again last night is that they're really, really lacking the depth. You take Rielly off that roster, man. Rasmus Sandin is not playing well. I don't think Lilligan can elevate to that level. I know Giordano played an uptick last night, but it's a struggle. And I think to your point, you make an excellent point in the fact that Morgan Rielly is a guy often not spoken about, but you take him off this Leafs roster, it is not good news, Rosie.
No, it's really not. And I think we're going to find out if he is out. Hopefully it's just a tweak and he throws, some kind of a brace on there and he's good to go. But it's a quick turnaround, man. They got the Devils going on here. I just don't see that, the way he's grabbing it, the way he doesn't come back, tries to go for twirl, not good. Who knows? But they're certainly going to lose him. They're going to miss him if they do. And I don't know, man. It would take some creative ingenuity in the brass section there to get something going on, because I don't know, maybe you can get some of these guys, someone to bite on, like a Kerfoot or an Engvall contract somehow in replace for someone that you just see that maybe is a little bit unproven or young, or I just don't know. Just good luck finding that, right? It doesn't exist, but I think the decor is closer than we think. It is not complete, but I think if you just find that one piece they're missing, that one kind of glue where you can kind of always have something solid on the ice that's reliable. I think they're missing one man, and can they get that? Very doubtful. The guy doesn't even necessarily exist, let alone available to them.
Oh, the guy was on our show 2 weeks ago. His name's Luke Shen. No, I think somebody along those lines, right-handed shooting defenseman who can play on the PK. Like, I just don't know if you're going to get like a Colton Parayko type right now. It's just really, really hard to do. Just look at the Ottawa Senators. I think they've been after a top 4 defenseman for like months on end, still can't find them. And guys continue to go down. I know Jacob Chikrin is the big sexy name out there. I just think it's very, very unlikely, especially from a Maple Leafs perspective. Meantime, the quarter mark review, Rosie, I can't believe it. They're at the 20-game mark of 82 in this regular season. Time is flying. To put things into perspective, Toronto 10-5-5. That's 102.5 point pace. Last season at this time, they were 13-6-1. And, of course, they finished with a franchise record, 115 points last season. The PP's 6th, the PK's 18th. Goals for 2.95, tied for 20th, and the goals against, they're 8th in the league, which is pretty impressive. They're second in the Atlantic right now behind Boston, a 9-point gap there. The Bruins just don't lose. Your overall assessment through 20 games of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Rosie?
You just got to wrap it up and say it's positive. I mean, it's very positive. They're a good team. All the numbers show that. They don't have anything that's hardly past the halfway point, and they got some front running numbers there. I really like that goals against at 8th. That's top 10 in the NHL for goals against, which, has always been kind of their Achilles heel, whether it's been defense or defending or turnovers or goaltending. So I really think that they have had a solid first quarter to the season. And like I said earlier, they haven't even had a chance to put their full lineup together. You get these two goalies going back to back. I saw Matthews tweet on his numbers 5-on-5, and they're abysmal compared to what he's used to. And, that's only going to be a matter of time before that fires up. And, you get some health, you get some guys back on D, you mix some things around. All of a sudden these guys are capable of going on 10-game winning streak and whatnot. And if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's just putting the blocks together to figure out who this team is and how it's running, as smoothly as possible. And they've been doing that. They've been moving things around and finding things. So I got nothing but positive things to say. If you're a fan of any other team in the NHL and you look at all that, what are you saying? Unless you're like a front runner, like prediction to win the Stanley Cup, what else do you want? Like, yeah, we're rolling. We're winning lots of games. We got some injury trouble. Are we perfect? No, we're constantly working and changing to fix things. But I just give it, a thumbs up, positive start to the season, and let's keep doing better and keep getting better and better every game until, we're just a main machine coming April. That's the goal, right?
I echo those sentiments completely. I think it's been a pretty decent November, all things considered, considering the way they started in October. Having said that, I just don't put much stock in the regular season. You know this, working with me through about 30 shows now, that I think this is a foregone conclusion. They're going to get to the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's more so what they do in the playoffs. But you want progress, you want build. I thought they looked really good last night. And I thought all 4 lines offered something a bit different. I think they're really, we've talked quite a bit about identity throughout this season. I think the Leafs are starting to get that, I should say, especially in the bottom six. Like, I've really been impressed by the third line, the fourth line. I thought Engvall was going last night. Aston Reese has been providing. Like, I think they have to feel really, really good with what they put together the last little while in terms of the bottom six here.
Yeah, I think so too. It's good to see. It's some guys are, I think they've kind of gotten in trouble just by just trying to put the best quote unquote hockey player they can on all four
Yeah.
lines and go out and do the exact same bloody thing. And, that's frustrating because that just does not work, right? The game doesn't work that way. And I mean, that's why, you put together all-star teams that don't get anything done because it's not an all-star game out there. It's NHL, and you need that depth and you need that difference at experience levels, and the goals that you're trying to accomplish as a line is not always necessarily the same, right? And coaches will put out strategic lines based on the situation, the momentum in the game, and what's happening and what we need. And I agree with you though that the bottom six is, I especially like the fourth liner. Like, I'm starting to see Zach Aston Reese a lot more doing positive things, and it comes from like a high level of effort and energy. He always seems to be kind of like a workhorse lately. Camp obviously really solid, and I like Malgin there on the fourth line because he's a guy who like may not even have been on the roster. He might have been on the Marlies for the most part, but he also kind of showed that he's able to play in this league. He's got the skill and the ability to play in the NHL, and he should be here. So like, I think his best way is to mold himself into that bottom six player and show like, hey, do you want a really good bottom six guy, which I can be? Is he going to be a second line player? No, he's just not quite there, and they got too many guys to fill those holes. So go down a line, bring what you already have that makes you even questionable for the top couple lines, but bring all that fourth line shit, that energy, that defense, blocking shots, be a workhorse, work with those other two guys to just be this wall that you can put out there at certain times and just fucking change games and dominate, and chip in with a goal here or there. He's got the skill to do that, and then make big plays on the other end, bang and crash a little bit. I don't care how big you are, man. No one likes to get hit in this league anymore. Run guys through the fucking wall and then get off and see the backlash you get from other crowds and stuff. It's beautiful, man. Just play that role hard and understand what you're doing and play it, and it's very useful, and they're starting to do that, which is awesome.
What's your grade level then, Professor
On them,
Rosehill?
on the whole team?
No, just on the team. 20 game mark, your grade level.
Good question. I would say my grade level is a B plus. A B plus.
Okay.
They're not in the A area. They had too ugly of an October. And I don't think you're capable of playing like A hockey when you don't even have your roster, when your goalies have been hurt all year long. And I think that to have that B plus ranking and to be where they are with the numbers we just showed up, we have our fourth string goalie in right now. Can you tell me a team who's got their fourth string goalie in for as long as Källgren has had to play? And he's done well, but he's still the fourth string goalie.
Yeah.
Give me another organization that can do that and be sitting where the Leafs are right now with the shit that they've had to go through. We just assume, they should be winning every single game always. Well, it's like no one can do that, man. It's impossible. I think they've been done phenomenal for what they've had so far in the first quarter.
I should preface by saying I'm a tough marker, but it's a B minus for me. And I hate to say, I think it's the same team, dude. And the proof will be in the pudding come the springtime. I hope they prove otherwise, but I do think it's the same team. We see this episode every season. They have terrible October. They find their way in November. They pump 105, 115 points, and then, they lose in the first round. So until I see that, I'm going to have the same mark probably.
But you're fighting against the ghosts of Maple Leaf past because of everything you've seen and done.
We're living in the present. I get it. Thank you, Mr. Therapy.
I hope you're wrong, buddy. I hope you're wrong.
I just been through this car crash way too many times. But again, I love your optimism. I hope this year is different. But again, anybody watching and listening has seen this episode before. But I digress. The wrap-up is brought to you by our friends at PointsBet Canada. So unfortunately, I took the L in the first day of the week. I had John Tavares anytime assist, and he scores. But we're back at it tonight. Just a few games. Again, it's a weird week with American Thanksgiving. No games on Thursday. But I would like Tage Thompson over 3.5 shots on goal. The price is juiced. I don't care. Minus 160. He's cleared in 6 straight games. He has 38 shots on goal in the past 6 games. So, Rosie, naturally, he's not going to hit tonight, is he?
I honestly just think 4 shots is a lot to get for anybody. And when you take those Flyers, who knows, man? That's betting, man. You just don't know. There's no guarantees. There's no sure things. but Vegas must not like it too much because, like you say, they juice that
Yeah.
line. So maybe there is a good chance, but man, it's just freaking hard to get 4 shots. But like you said, he's been shooting like crazy. So what are you going to do? You're going to take a flyer on him and he'll probably shit his pants.
Yeah, themes and trends. We got to look at that. Buffalo's lost 8 in a row. Whatever. Tate Thompson's a beast, man. He had 9 shots on goal the other night in that loss to Toronto. I'm going to ride him. Whatever. We'll
That's
see what
insane.
happens here. I've done it earlier in the season as well. But some of these guys just love shooting the puck. Nathan McKinnon's another prime example. Every time you look up, it's like 7, 8 shots on goal a night. Don't they get tired? Like
Oh,
I was joking around with my beer league teammates the other day. It's like, what would my shot prop be in beer league hockey? Like maybe half a shot. Like I'm more of a playmaker, so I'm a bad example. You do get some guys who just shoot from everywhere, but like it's always unique to look at it from that perspective. Like, what would your shot prop be if you played in the NHL right now? -1.5?
oh, probably unless I did a high dump and chased it and it kicked right and hit the goalie, maybe. But no,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
lot of
about it.
shooting, man. Think about the shots that didn't get
Yeah.
through, the shots that got blocked or tipped or deflected. You're just to get those. And how many did you pass up where you dish it or you
Yeah.
don't think that's a good enough opportunity, man? To put 8 shots on net in an NHL game is crazy. You got to play a lot of hockey, you got to play a lot of minutes, and you got to put yourself in a lot of positions. And I mean, good hockey players are putting up that many shots a night, but obviously a guy like McKinnon isn't just friggin' shooting them from inside the blue line to get shots up. Those are all pretty much all, I would say more than half of them are quality scoring chances. So not easy to do, obviously.
And furthermore, they have a new statistic, shot attempts. So that's in
Mm.
addition to the shots that actually hit the net. And then don't forget about
Nope.
the posts and all that. So, yeah, there's a lot working with the math in the NHL these days. So we're going to wrap here. But, Rosie, coming up on Wednesday, another showdown game with the New Jersey Devils, man. They haven't lost since October
Yeah.
24th, a 13-game win streak. And the Leafs ended tomorrow night.
What is that even, man? Like their numbers are they 16-3?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's like you don't even see that, man. That's pretty insane. So sucks we got to face them again in their barn right away after having them. But solid game there on the weekend against them. Damn near could have won it, but it's going to be tough, man. I think they're going to be licking their wounds a little bit, and that team is just fired hot. They want to set a record. They're in their home barn. We got, hopefully Murray will be back in playing like he was. And,
Yeah.
chance we got Morgan Rielly not in the lineup. It's just not setting up fantastic for the Leafs, but a huge time for, a character check and seeing what you can pull out when you don't have your best stuff. They might be a bit tired. They're banged up and whatever else. They probably got a lot of excuses to not get a point or two out of this game, but that's when the rubber hits the road. It would be a very, very pleasant win if they took them down from their top of their mountain.
Yep. That's why they play the games, right? It doesn't matter who's out of the lineup. And I just think it's funny. New Jersey has won 13 in a row, and they're still behind Boston, who is 17-2. Like the Bruins win every fucking game. How about that celebration last night? I don't know. I'm not sure if you saw this. So Patrice Bergeron gets a huge milestone, and the entire bench clears. Like if you want to know how much he means to that franchise and that team, just look at the celebration from last night. Marchand scores the goal, but it's all about Bergeron.
Yeah, like imagine how much fun they're having right now. Can you imagine playing in that league where you're just
Oh,
shit-hauling everyone you come across and you're just pasting everybody? It would just be
yeah.
so fun. You'd be having so much fun. I mean, the biggest problem would be stay focused, stay on track. I mean, the guys going out to dinners and having beers after and flying on the planes and getting to the hotels and doing all the stuff that they're doing would be so fun that it would just be hard not to breed this unbelievably tight team where everyone's just having the time of their life and everyone's got these the same unbelievable experience going on. Everyone's just totally jazzed up, and I think that shows when one of their boys does something incredible. It's just tack it on to the latest thing that we're just kicking ass and everyone jumps out and is so happy for them. It's just they're flying so high right now. It would be wicked to be on that roster, to be honest.
Yeah, don't forget Toronto beat them. Do not forget that. The Leafs are one of those two teams to beat them earlier on in the season. It is a long
That's right.
campaign. Again, we'll be back with you coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday to tee up the Leafs and the Devils from the Prudential Center. Rosie, excellent job today. Okay, bud?
Thanks, dude. Should be a good one. We'll see you then.
There you have it, Jay Rosehill. Remember to subscribe, tap that like button, leave us a review. Thoughts, comments, and concerns get to this, and we'll get you on the show promptly with that. But for Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care.